the broadcast, coat in the comments, chanting every line. You're tuned to the truth that you'll never find online. Come on, it's the cult of Ron and Brian. If you're in, you ain't never going quiet. Twist that dial, let the whole world hear it. Two sharp minds and the bad influence spirit. Hey, cult of Ron and Brian. Welcome to the ride, you're inside it now.
All right, good evening, everybody. It is Sunday night. It's 8 o'clock here on the East Coast, and it is time for episode 409 of the Cult of Ron and Brian podcast. Welcome to all those folks who are going to be watching the UFC Freedom 250 fight. Obviously, those fights have been pushed off till 9 o'clock, so thank you all for joining us here on the broadcast. Brian, how are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing great. I mean, it is, we can say we are, on the 20-yard line of summer. And
what kind of summer is it?
You tell me.
You gotta say the full thing, Brian.
It's Hot Podcaster Summer.
Hot Podcaster Summer.
And it's like the sweating. It's there. So yesterday, the lady and I don't know, Bron, I know you and your lady are big fans of the pool. Yesterday, my lady and I went down, jumped in a couple times. The water was just perfect. You jump in when you're sweating, it's hot, and then the cool water just evens you out. Did a couple laps, Did not go today because there's a little red stripe down my right leg that apparently was not covered in sunscreen. Not blaming the lady. I take full responsibility for that. But I decided maybe I shouldn't. Yeah, I just thought I shouldn't go out. However, I'm going to say this to you. For those of us who stayed up late last night celebrating the exciting New York Knicks championship win over the San Antonio Spurs, I didn't get to bed till about 1 a.m., so it was nice to sleep in. This was just a beautiful Sunday. How are you doing?
I can't complain. Again, congrats to the New York Knicks. I'm sure we'll probably talk about that a little bit later. But some solid numbers last night. 6 stabbings, 1 shooting, 5 school buses set on fire, and 63 people arrested. New York knows how to celebrate, Brian.
I'll be honest. I thought the numbers were going to be higher. I mean, this is a situation where I would have gone. I was going over no matter what line Vegas was going to put up there. And you're telling me only 6 school buses? That's very disappointing. Very disappointing.
People behave themselves. I know you got in a little trouble. You were firing your handgun out the window of the ivory tower. But that's just how you celebrate. And you know what? We used to be a country, Brian. We used to be able to shoot off firearms in crowded places.
Of course. I mean, I let's just go on record in case, there's any law enforcement listening to the show. I wasn't aiming at specific people. I was just shooting at the building next door, which should be empty, just in hopes to further delay that building becoming occupied.
Makes sense. Well, let's get into things here, Brian. We got a packed show tonight. We're going to start, like we always do, with Drink of the Week.
Well, welcome aboard. Don't spill your brew. We've got 1 cup and maybe 2. A mystery pour in a paper sleeve. The kind that makes the wise men grieve. Hey, drink of the week. Drink of the week. Raise it up. Let the anchors creak. Drink of the week. Drink of the week. Bottoms up for the Cult of Ron and Brian podcast.
I got to tell you, Brian, I love the old Drink of the Week anthem. We used it for, 400 some episodes. But I got to say, the new Drink of the Week is a banger. It just makes me want to imbibe. So, Brian,
it's so beautiful.
This
week, I went all the way up to Ithaca, New York, to visit our friends at Ithaca Brewing Company, where they introduced me apricot wheat. Ron, you're familiar with it?
Very familiar. I think you've never had this beer?
Never had it before.
I think you're going to be very happy with your selection, my friend.
All right, I already have a poured bottle of this beer in my frosted Cult of Ron and Brian mug, not mug, this is more of a pint glass. But I'm going to say this, if you could see through the frosting. This smooth wheat beer is light in color and body, perfect for those looking for a lighter taste. The combination of wheat and barley gives apricot wheat a different malt character than other ales. The hint of apricot gives this beer a pleasant nose and fruity finish. Smells a little fruity to me, just like you in college, Ron. 5.0 ABV, so I might start to enjoy myself during After Dark. Beer Advocate only gives it a score of 76 because those fuckers are beer snobs. If Ron likes this beer, then I know I'm going to. Here is Ithaca Beer Company's Apricot Wheat.
Take a sip there. Flower Power is also another Ithaca beer that is quite tasty.
I'm going to say this unnecessarily bitter. There's a bitterness to this that I just don't think that I feel like they should have worked its way out. Because I will say this.
Yeah.
As it's hitting your tongue, you're picking up those fruity notes. It seems like it's going to be a very pleasant experience. Then as you swallow, which I know, Ron, is something that you find very difficult, unless you've had a couple shots and some poppers. But once you swallow, that's where the bitterness really starts to hit the palate. I'm going to give this a 2.75 out of 5 stars.
All right.
It's okay. That is the beautiful thing about individual ranking, is that my ranking has no effect on yours or anyone else's, especially Beer Advocate. Which leads me to this very important point that I've been trying to make all week, which is, what are you drinking, Ron?
So going a little different angle this week, Brian, from the good folks at Five Farms. This is one of their extra infused THC seltzers.
Oh!
This is their Blood Orange Blaze, only 40 calories, 10 milligrams of THC, 5 milligrams of CBD per can. So again, it's their Blood Orange Blaze, looking just kind of like a regular seltzer.
Sure.
Not getting much in the way of the aroma. Let's see what the taste is.
The man takes a sip. For those, it looks like it's like a lemon I would say like a lemonade, or something. Almost. Yeah.
I mean, I will say this. It doesn't have much. There's a little bit of citrus there. I will say there's not much in the way of flavor, but.
He's going back for 2 sips. So it's not bad.
I wouldn't say it's like a La Croix, let's say. It's THC.
Okay. Now the question is, how much THC is in there?
This has 10 milligrams of THC in this can.
Interesting. So, and I'm assuming it's going to take about an hour for you to feel the effects of this.
So it says fast buzz, extra infused, high tolerance, no problem. We've got the perfect extra infused seltzer to keep you lifted and levitating. 1 can gives you immediate elevation. 2 cans, heavy hitting. 3 cans, totally zoinked.
All right. Let's. Can you do me a favor as you drink this? Well, first off, what you should do is just slam the whole thing down. Just, one gulp, chug. I know that you are in your advanced years, being the elder of the two here, but I'm thinking you chug it down, and then every couple minutes or so, we just check in with you to see how it's going. I've seen these in stores. I've not ever purchased one of them, so I'm very interested to hear what your experience is like.
THC drinks very hot right now, apparently. Very hot.
Of course. Well, the whole idea is how, is the man, we'll say the man, is looking for all different ways to keep the masses medicated. So if for those people who are, uncomfortable in smoking, inhaling like a Bill Clinton, here you have a beverage you can just drink and it will provide you the same effects. So this way you're not angry over the fact that this week we actually had a human being whose net worth crossed $1 trillion, while the 1% in this country continue to make more and more money as average Americans struggle to pay their grocery bill and rent. But that's something we shouldn't have to worry about because we have THC beverages.
All right, way to bring the room down a little bit. Well,
It's what I do, Ron. I cheers to you.
I guess it's time then for Beef of the Week.
Ron and Brian's Beef of the Week.
Brian, what's bothering you this week?
I'll tell you exactly what's bothering me. Had a awkward interaction. I don't know if awkward's really the right word. I had an interaction at a local restaurant recently. I took the lady out. We wanted to go for some dinner. We went into a restaurant that's within walking distance of the Ivory Tower. And here, this is something that just kind of, you ever have an interaction where it's not really to the point where you're going to say something, do something, but it just spoils your experience. We looked online to see if we needed to make a reservation. And it appeared that there were seatings available every 15 minutes online, which I interpret as, oh yeah, this place is not going to be crowded. So we did not make reservations because we weren't sure exactly what time we felt like leaving the tower and walking over. So
Fair enough.
Get home from work, pick up the lady, not literally, though I would if I could. She would just smack me as hard as possible if I tried to lift her. Anyway, not to digress.
Of course not.
But so we walk into the restaurant. I'm not naming names here because I'm not a snitch. But we walk in and the place is empty.
An Olive Garden?
No.
Okay.
There's no Olive Garden within walking distance of us.
Sorry.
It's insulting. But we walked in. The place was mostly empty. I think there was probably about 4 or 5 other tables that were. And this is a large area, a large room. So they go to seat us. First, they say, "Do you have reservations?" This is what we call foreshadowing. They asked us if we have reservations. I said, "No. We just figured we would swing by." So they go to seat us. And it's one of, if you have the same problem when you go out for dinner with your lady, but a 2-person table, now there's such a wide range of area of a table that 2 people can occupy.
Sure.
Sometimes you get a chew top, which literally appears to be like the size of an iPad that you're going to have to, like make the space on. Other times you get seated at like a 4-person table where you can sit catty corner, you can sit across from each other. Other time, and what we noticed was like across from where they were trying to seat us, there were half circle booths. And I noticed there was about 6 of them, and there were 2 of them that were occupied by 2 people. So I was like, oh, now these booths can easily hold probably 4+ people. So I was just like, oh, I guess they're seating people, groups of 2 in those booths. So I said to the hostess, I said, is there any way that we can have a booth? I like a little room. She was seating us at a small table.
You like to do a little of that man spreading.
Of course. And she just said, no, I'm sorry. Those are for people with reservations.
Okay.
Place is mostly empty. I'm sorry. There are booths empty. There are 4 tops empty. There are 2-person tables that are also empty. But you know what? I just said, you know what? That's a petty policy.
Not going to make a fuss.
I will not make a fuss. It's Friday. I'm in a good mood. The work week has ended. The weekend is starting. I'm going to get myself a beer, maybe a burger, possibly a French dip. This is what I'm looking at for my dinner. I'm in a good mood. So we sit down, we eat. We're at the point where we finished our entrees and we're looking at the dessert menu. And I see the hostess walking by me with 2 people, and she tries to sit them at a table off to my right, which is even smaller than where we were sitting. It's a small round table, which was ideal for 1 person. I don't know how you could expect 2 people to put their plates on this. So the woman of the party sat there and said to the hostess, hey, is there any way we could, get a larger table? Is there any way we could get a booth? And the hostess said, hold on 1 second, walked back to the I guess I don't know what you want to call it, the station where Brain
Hostess
Center,
stand, perhaps.
the hostess stand, comes back and escorts this couple over to a booth and where they sit and enjoy their meal with plenty of room on the table. Infuriated me. And this is the thing. I want to say that the problem was the hostess. The truth of the matter is I also point the finger at myself because I said not a word as I walked out. I had this I had this sizzling rage in my head, and as I walked by the hostess station, thank you, Ron, I knew I was battling internally whether I should say something to her or not, and I chose to take the high road and just walk out unhappy. Exactly. Janelle knows what's going on. I was chicken. I was fucking chicken, and it pissed me off even more than getting the smaller table. And that is my beef of the week.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Maybe next time you'll make a reservation and get the table you wanted.
Lesson learned.
Or maybe you won't go back because of the way you were treated.
Oh, no. Definitely going back. There's very few places we have that's walkable.
You're not going to go to P.F. Chang, for example?
Oh, no, can't do that. Ron, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
What's bothering you?
So my beef this week, Brian, is with Steven Spielberg. More specifically, his new movie, Disclosure Day.
I thought it was because he's Jewish. I mean, I know that's... No. We agreed. We had that meeting about 2 years ago, you, me, and Matt, where we agreed your beefs of the week could no longer be about people being Jewish. Oh, you had me worried there, Ron. Yes.
Are you done?
Sorry.
Anyway, so his latest, alien blockbuster film, there's been previews kind of teasing it. Based on the previews, It looked like it would be kind of an action-packed movie. It was a very, I would call it a self-indulgent 2.5 hour think piece, Brian.
Really?
Very slow. It was an interesting story, but I think it was so slow paced, and I don't know. It was disappointing. Not one that you necessarily need to rush out and see on opening day,
right?
Just like we did. And again, Spielberg. This is the man who did E.T., Raiders of the Lost Ark, Schindler's List, AI. I mean, the man has done Saving Private Ryan. The man has done amazing films. This one kind of disappointing.
What was the thing that you disliked most about it?
I think again it was very slow paced, and it kind of oversimplified the story. Like it just was all over the place. I don't know. It was just disappointing on a lot of levels. Really?
Okay.
That's just me.
I'm sorry. Question: how was the movie going experience? I haven't been to a movie in a long time.
So I will say, there was a person on my left who would get on her cell phone. No, my wife was on my right, but there was a person on my left that she would take out her cell phone and start looking at it, and of course, it just brightens up the entire back of the theater.
Of course.
And then about an hour into the movie, I noticed the person on my right starts taking out her cell phone and is now lighting up the back row as well. She checked out probably halfway through the movie.
Really? She just checked out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I can't say that I could blame her.
Yeah. No, it's disappointing. And the thing is this, especially, your home setup, your comfortable couch, your comfortable chair, your wonderful TV, and the sound system you have. For you to, buy tickets to go to a movie and sit there and, subject yourself to the general public, you would think that the product would warrant, that type of sacrifice. So I imagine your rage as, you're sitting there realizing that you've been taken.
Well, then, you're getting, we went to Movie Tavern, because it was around dinner time. So we ordered some very substandard, overpriced food. And then you're paying, concert prices for beers and cocktails.
Sure. Not disappointing.
What are you going to do, Brian? What are you going to do?
You would think that Spielberg would deliver.
And again, I have been anticipating this movie. And again, maybe if the previews made it out to be a different type film than I thought it was going to be, I would have liked it more. But yeah, it was a little disappointing for me.
I'm sorry, buddy.
Anyway, let's get into our stories of the week. These are stories that we want to make sure we get to, that we love, we hold, we cherish, and then we share with the people. Brian, what's your story of the week this week?
My story of the week is listen. It's from the New York Post, but we know and understand right now that the New York Post nowadays is just anything that's interesting on TikTok. They're just grabbing, phrasing it into text form and calling it an article. But it was something that I thought was interesting, and I see two sides of the debate.
Okay.
But a recent shopper in Target alleged that Target adds a quote-unquote fat tax after discovering higher prices for larger sizes. So this woman, who goes by the name of Samyra at Samyra, Samyra, on TikTok, she did a video where she was purchasing two of the same shirts but in different sizes, and noticed that the large size came out to $6, the triple extra large, which I think was for her, came out to $8. And she made a video online, and you see, going through the comments, you see people on both sides backing her up, other people pointing out that the larger size requires more material, so therefore the higher price is justified. Other people just taking both sides of it. But she's referring to this as a fat tax, that this is Target and other retailers punishing large size individuals who are looking to buy clothing. She kept saying, this isn't right, this isn't fair. Target came back with some kind of BS corporate answer that didn't really answer anything. But we've had in this country just an obesity epidemic. We've embraced people being larger and larger. I know, Ron, you've got the tattoo on your thigh that says "Big is beautiful." But it's gotten to a point where we've normalized just the how do I say this politely? I don't want to say the obese, but just like we've normalized just being significantly overweight. And we've removed any sense of incentive for people to lose weight in the society, to get off that obese spectrum onto the norm. Listen, I'm considered obese based on the medical community. I've got a couple pounds on me, I'm not going to lie. But I just thought it was a very interesting story. If you want to dive into it, I'm sure it's all over your social media algorithm as well. But it is just the people in the internet who feel that the same item, regardless of size, should be the exact same, and that this is unfair pricing by big box retailers.
Well, and what do you think, Brian? What's your take on the situation?
Personally, I think that there should be a higher price. There's more material that goes into it. If you go to a restaurant and you order a small soda versus a large, there's different prices attached to it. I don't see why clothing should be any different. Okay.
Interesting. Because normally you're a man of the people, but now you seem to be taking the corporate point of view.
Listen, is that really? I think I'm taking let's make America healthy again perspective. RFK Jr.
All right, fair enough.
There you go. Janelle's just like, yeah, she's had to pay more for it. Never thought of it that way. This person did, and I'm going to say, if she's got a lot of supporters online who are absolutely backing her up on that.
But I think to your point, when you get into, and I've started to see this, when we order, kind of logo merch for the podcast and things like that, when you get up into 2, 3, 4, 5X, there's a higher price for it. And to your point, there's more material involved,
Sure.
There's additional storage involved, when they're shipping product, the various stores. There's a lot that goes.
I heard you just said trans. I was like, oh no, don't say that trans people should be paying more for clothing, because I got so nervous there, Ron. I know you were trying to say
that, Brian.
You were starting to say transport, but geez, when you mentioned how trans, I was like, oh, keep the trans people out of this. It's so awkward. Anyway, Ron, what's your story of the week?
So my story of the week this week, Brian, we go out to Idaho, where nearly 60 people have gotten sick since May 19th after drinking raw milk from 2 separate dairy operations in northern and southern Idaho. At least 45 of those cases tested positive for campylobacteriosis,
Really?
which is a bacterial illness that, to put it gently, involves your body attempting to exit through every available opening simultaneously. Health officials wouldn't name the specific dairies because they say the problem applies to all unpasteurized milk, not just those 2 farms. Symptoms kick in within 2 to 5 days and can last a week, which is a lot of time to regret your artisanal lifestyle choices. The same officials are expecting even more cases to emerge. Pasteurization, by the way, kills the exact bacteria causing this disaster and does not meaningfully affect the milk's nutritional content.
Ron, please, I don't know if you can, if you have access to this data, but in the counties where these people are getting sick, is there any way that you can tell me who they voted for in the most recent presidential election? I want to know whether I should be happy or sad about this happening.
I mean, it is Idaho. I believe Idaho was a red state. So if I had to ballpark it.
Got it. I appreciate your subtle way of answering that. I understand people wanting to be held. I get, but there's just so many people that are falling victim to these just online snake oil salespeople who are just like, this is a great way to be healthy again. Eat raw liver. Remember Liver Man, the Liver King?
Yeah. Liver King. But it's like, people are like, well, we never used to have pasteurization. We never used to have this. We used to never have that. Yeah, and we used to die in our 40s also.
If you were lucky, you were dying in your 40s.
There's a correlation there that, when your lifespan was 37 because you were drinking raw milk every day.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something to this science.
Oh, my goodness. That is fucking frightening. But I guess, listen, people are, this is the America we deserve.
Unfortunately, it seems that way. Next up, Brian, yet another update in the JPMorgan sex slave saga. We remember former JPMorgan banker Chirayu Rana, who was suing his fellow colleague,
his boss,
Marna Tajdini, saying that she made him her sex slave. JPMorgan had said they investigated it, couldn't find anything. This was just on a state level, and then we reported previously how his previous high-powered attorney, who had previously represented Jeffrey Epstein accusers, had dropped him. Then a judge ruled he couldn't stay anonymous in the case. Well, now he has dropped his New York State lawsuit, only to refile in federal court with what his team is calling, quote, substantial new evidence. Of course, they have not revealed what that substantial new evidence is to the public, but we will keep on top of that. Plus, his former boss is also countersuing him for defamation. So we will continue to follow this as this moves along. I mean, he's all in because it.
Sure.
And again, we don't want to not believe victims, but it does feel like he might not be telling the truth. But he is doubling down on this the entire way.
Well, I mean, once it got so public that there was just no way that he could possibly just walk away from this. I mean, his career is ruined. No one's going to hire him anymore. I imagine was he married or was it just a girlfriend?
He is married. No, he is married.
So I'm assuming she had to have been in on it. I imagine she was in on it. Although, if you remember, there was some ethnic slurs that he was claiming his boss was making about her. I can't imagine. Terrible, just terrible. How do you get out of that?
Well, we'll find out. You file a federal lawsuit, apparently.
All right. I would say I wish him the best of luck, but I really don't. I don't believe him. And I know
Next
we
up,
used to
Brian.
say, Ron, I know you like to say believe all men, but I in this case I can't.
All right. Well, you're making a stand, and I appreciate that.
welcome.
Brian, we haven't been to our segment F around and find out lately.
I love this segment.
But I thought this story would meet the requirements here. So this is a photo of Brian Jose Rojas Galorfre with his family. He is a Venezuelan immigrant living in Wisconsin who wanted to give his wife, who's a Donald Trump supporter, a road trip to Trump National Doral in Miami, as sort of a honeymoon. They were hoping to catch a glimpse of the president, who was there for a Republican retreat in January of 2025. Things went sideways, Brian, when the hotel security detained Brian. He ended up spending more than 3 months in ICE custody while the government investigated whether he had gang ties. Meanwhile, his wife, who is a U.S. citizen, was alone with their 6-month-old baby for the duration. DHS described Brian as a, quote, criminal illegal alien whose history included charges for drug paraphernalia and who tried to enter the hotel with an airsoft gun. His attorneys countered that he has never been convicted of any serious crime. An immigration judge ultimately granted him bond in April 2025, implying he posed no danger or flight risk. The family says that they have lost their car, their home, and has drained their 401ks. Quote of the year from Rojas: in the end, it was a bad decision. Not sure if he means supporting Trump or going to a Trump hotel. But yeah, he effed around,
and he
and
found
the family
out.
Found out.
Yeah, you can't do this. Yeah, it's just if if you don't have a green card plus or citizenship, let's also face it. There was a key line in there which said that he had never been found guilty of any serious crimes.
Serious crime, correct.
Which meant he had a criminal record. And the truth be told is, if you've got a criminal record here in this country right now, and you do not have a green card or higher, I would say I would not feel very comfortable here.
They will do everything in their power to kick you out of this country.
Sure, especially, and there's another one, especially if you're Hispanic. Let's be brutally honest here. I would say Hispanics and Arabs are probably the two groups that ICE goes after initially. You don't see many, Slavic immigrants being locked up and being sent back to Estonia because, they racked up some parking tickets. You're not hearing these stories, Ron.
Maybe, but that's not saying it isn't happening.
I'm saying that the Estonian community has a voice and we would hear it.
All right, fair enough.
Question, Ron, we are 33 minutes into the show. How are you feeling?
Yes. I can't say that I'm feeling that much different than normal. Eyes focusing, able to read. I do feel very relaxed, I will say that. Normally,
Really?
I'm very stressed out, like the stress of carrying that title belt, the stress of carrying that title belt, the stress of carrying, that weight during this hour plus. Just it feels
Hurtful.
like it's just been lifted off me.
That's hurtful, Ron.
I'm sorry.
Because I know you're pointing at me.
Brian, science has
Yes.
found something new to blame for babies not happening. Apparently, it's your phone, Brian. Two
What?
new academic papers argue that the iPhone's 2007 launch and the broader smartphone explosion are not a coincidence when it comes to falling birth rates. They may actually be a direct cause. Researchers at Middlebury College used a clever natural experiment. Since the original iPhone only worked on AT&T's network, they compared fertility rates in counties with heavy AT&T coverage to those without. Their conclusion: the iPhone rollout accounts for an estimated 33 to 52% of the decline in the U.S. general fertility rate between 2007 and 2011. The declines were sharpest among younger women, up to 8% amongst teens aged 15 to 19, and up to 6.6% among women 20 to 24. The proposed mechanisms include smartphones, reducing in-person socializing, increasing pornography use, and reducing sexual frequency overall. Your thoughts, Brian?
It feels, and it listen, it's something I have a little sensitivity towards. Is obviously the push by big government about fertility rates. It does, I watched the first season of Handmaid's Tale. Freaked me out to the point where I stopped watching it. But it does feel, and it's odd that they're targeting women here. Is just once again is this far right obsession with women and the fertility rates, as they are just afraid of the white replacement theory.
I believe so. Yes,
I think that's what it's called. Where it feels, and you know me, I like a good conspiracy. It feels like they view women as a primary role is to have lots of children, and that if a woman is not having children, then they don't seem to grab the concept that this is just a productive member of society who goes to work and keeps the economy. But it's like, if you're not having 3-4 children, then what are you doing? Like, right. It just irks me. It irks me that this is even a thing, that they're studying why women are having less money, but not focusing on the overall economy and the struggle that people have to pay for children.
Right. I mean, two things that are interesting to me. Number one, I think the pregnancy rate going down for kids 15 to 19, not a bad thing. Like, we should be trying to reduce the number of teen parents out there. But
sure.
Yeah, I do think, yes, there is maybe a correlation between the iPhone coming out, but this is also, right around the same time that we had the housing and financial crisis in 2008. Sure. And to your point, I don't know that the middle class ever really recovered from that.
There's no middle class. We've got billionaires now. We have trillionaires.
Right. And now, we're at a place where, two people working full time can barely afford a place to live in most of the states of this country. So who is going to be in a position to want to have to raise a family if you can't buy a house? If the American dream is pretty much, I don't want to say it's dead, but it's not good.
No, not at all.
Would you argue that?
No, I would not argue that. I would say that, looking at where we are as a country right now, I feel pretty good that I'm in my 50s. I feel like I've had a good, 25 years head start before things really hit the shitter. So I see some light at the end of the tunnel in terms of, my time here on this planet. But if I were 20 right now, and not born into generational wealth, I'd be depressed as shit. I'd be so depressed about the way things are.
And thanks to Billy, we can tie this into to Ronald Reagan again. Baby boom happened during the New Deal. Baby rates declined from Reagan's trickle-down economics.
There we go. Billy
it
always
goes
pointing the
back
finger.
to Ronald Reagan.
Yes, he's not wrong.
To give you some interesting statistics, when I went to that work conference a couple weeks back, they did have someone from one of the big economics firms. I want to say it was maybe Deloitte, maybe Ernst & Young, one of those. And they had done some surveys on the generations and the changes. And like, you talk about people being worried about, the white, what was the word you put it? The white replacement theory?
White replacement. Yeah.
So what's interesting, if you look at the mix of this country going back to, I think it was 1980, like 51 or 52% of the population was white. Now, I think as of 2024 was this study, that's down to like 26%. And actually, really? I think Asians make up the largest percentage of population in the U.S. But what was interesting is even though the amount, the number of white people, the mix went down to 26%, pretty much all of the wealth that had been accumulated from 1980 to 2024 still stuck with those very rich white people.
It's generational wealth.
Yeah.
And I know that is what you are planning to hand down to me, along with the 2 title belts when you finally expire.
You know what? I feel Matt probably needs a cushion, a landing mat more than you do. So
that landing mat will be a gigantic. It'll be a gigantic rock of crack. He is not going to spend. He's not going to set himself up. He'll sell your house. It'll become a drug den. He's just going to use it for drugs, Ron.
All right. Well,
whereas I will use it for FanDuel bonus bets.
Hopefully, there's many years until I retire, Brian. So
yes,
we're gonna keep doing this.
We want you to keep working until you die.
Let's have an update on the Anna Kepner case. We did cover this back towards the end of last year, I think. 18-year-old Anna Kepner was found dead on November 7th, 2025, beneath a bed in a cabin she shared with her 16-year-old stepbrother, Timothy Hudson, aboard the Carnival Horizon cruise ship during a family vacation. Her cause of death was ruled mechanical asphyxia, meaning someone or something physically stopped her from breathing. When investigators boarded the ship, her phone was missing. They eventually found it in the ship's lost and found with its screen smashed, pulled from a trash can on the opposite side of the ship from their cabin. Surveillance footage placed her stepbrother traveling from the cabin towards that trash can. Phone data from the ship's routers also tracked the device through the same route. Hudson has since been indicted as an adult on charges of first-degree murder and aggravated sexual abuse. He has pleaded not guilty and is currently living with an uncle under GPS monitoring while awaiting trial. So this took a while. Like there was speculation as to if the stepbrother was involved, and if so, how. But now it would appear that he sexually assaulted her and then killed her.
Or killed her and sexually assaulted her.
True. I mean, it could have been either or.
What I don't get, and I understand, he's, what is he, 16?
He was 6. Yes, he was 16 when this happened.
Not a criminal mastermind. We know this. Most 16-year-olds are not criminal masterminds. But what was his exit strategy on this? He kills his stepsister, who he's sharing a room with. Then he rolls up her body in a carpet, I believe, and hides her under the bed. What was you're on a cruise? Dump the body out the window. He knew the body was going to be found.
Well, again, he was 16, Brian. So, I mean, it's tough to plan the perfect murder when you're 16. And that's why, again, I think it was, he probably sexually assaulted her first, probably panicked, and then killed her. And then at that point, what do you do at that point? But just a horrible story. I mean, her life is gone. His life's ruined. And imagine what that does to a family.
Broken it.
The one spouse is married to another spouse whose child killed their child. I don't know how a marriage survives that.
This would never have happened in the Brady Bunch, because Bobby would never have killed Jan after he sexually assaulted her, because he would have just gone to Alice and said, hey, I'm in a pickle here. What do I do? And then they would have, had they would have done a dance number. And then Mel, was that her boyfriend's name?
Really? I was going to ask you who Alice's boyfriend was.
Wasn't it Mel the butcher?
He was a butcher. It was Al the butcher.
Al. Okay. I was not particularly close. But yeah, so this is actually a sad story.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope that we keep Sam the butcher.
Sam the
There you
Butcher.
go. We were
You're
both
right.
wrong.
We're both
Thank
wrong.
you.
We're both morons.
Thank you for the fact checking, William. I just hope that after a really terrible story like that, we come back with something that has some levity, some seriousness, something that is worthy of the airtime that we're about to devote to it.
All right, Brian. Well, this next story is about an influencer arrested for stealing $200. But the reason his story went viral was due to his mugshot. Baton Rouge content creator DeJounte Wings, age 27, known online as Wings Too Funny, with nearly 300,000 followers. He was arrested June 6th after police linked him to a break-in at the Take 5 oil change location where he used to work. This is the mugshot that went viral after his arrest. He allegedly smashed a window, found the safe, and walked off with roughly $200 in cash. The security camera malfunctioned and didn't capture his face, but the shop manager told police they recognized Wings by his distinctive walk. He faces apparently his walk is more distinctive than his cranium.
My gosh. You know,
So anyway.
I would say that if it put him in a room with Anna Taylor, what's her name? Anna Taylor.
Anna Joy Taylor.
Anna Joy Taylor. You put those two together and have a contest to see whose eyes are further apart.
Anyway, so he risked basically up to 12 years in prison to steal $200 from a place that fired him, which I think a good rule of thumb, Brian, never commit crimes immediately after getting fired.
Sure. I mean, Ron, you may not feel comfortable talking about your personal experience with that, but I remember when you were up in Albany and you worked at the Holiday Inn that was on Washington Avenue. You were fired for sexually harassing some of the cleaning staff. Ironically, all of the male cleaning staff. You were fired for, and then you went back and took a dump in the pool. They were like, "Who could have taken a dump in the pool?" And one of the cleaning guys was just like, "Oh no, that's definitely Ron's poop. I recognize it." Because he always clogs the toilet on the men's room on the third floor.
Why do you make up such lies about me?
Because it feels good.
All right, fair enough.
All right, cool.
Listen,
What else?
I'm not going to stop you when you want to feel good, my friend.
Thank you. What else we got? Oh, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
You can. Yes.
What are you watching?
What am I watching? Well, as we mentioned, I watched
Went to the movies.
Disclosure Day. Still watching From on MGM Plus. This is in their fourth season. So it's I think we've talked about this before. It's about
Yes, you have.
People that get trapped in this woods somehow and they can't escape. At this point, I think I just need to get some answers. Next season apparently is going to be the final season. I'm still into it, but I just need it to wrap up. But other than that, I've been watching a lot. Been watching a lot of World Cup, Brian. A lot of soccer over the last few days.
Same here.
And watching a lot of the NBA Finals.
Let's go next. Will you be coming up to New York for the ticker tape parade on Thursday?
I will. I'll have to get back to you on that.
All right. I'm going to say this to you. Much to my lady's chagrin, I too have been watching a lot of World Cup this past weekend. I made her watch some of the night games this past week. The U.S. played. I don't believe she likes the idea that I am monopolizing the living room TV with sports because, listen, it's been a wild time. I've been, the NBA playoffs. Since the Knicks 76ers, I've watched every game the Knicks have played. So that much, she's not a basketball fan, let's put it that way, put it mildly. And then now World Cup. So she actually asked me a question yesterday. I forgot who was playing, but she just said, like, why are you rooting for anybody in this game? And I just was like, no, just watching soccer. Did not like that. But I have also been watching a lot of other TV. So a week ago, we finished Better Call Saul. So now my watching has been guilt-free. There's lots of things. So finished season 2 of Friends and Neighbors on Apple TV. John Hamm, stealing from the wealthy. Season 2 is it's a real drop from season 1. Season 1 seemed plausible. This one just seems like it's ludicrous. Also finished another season 2 of a show on Apple TV. This one's called Criminal Record. It is we enjoyed season 1. This was it's a British cop show. Where season 1, I forgot the entire plot of what they were doing. Season 2 is they are looking for domestic terrorists, white supremacists who are going after immigrants. So really interesting. There's something about the British accent I like. You know that, Ron.
True.
But I enjoyed it. It's in the top 10. I also think Apple TV's ranking of movies and TV shows is just arbitrarily changed every day. Yeah, I don't necessarily trust it. Watched a really good documentary on HBO on Earth, Wind, and Fire. I don't know if that's something on your radar, but they are going on tour with Lionel Richie and hitting Madison Square Garden next month on a Saturday. I will be in attendance. But it was one of those where like you sit there and you're like, oh, you know what? I don't really know much about Earth, Wind, and Fire. I know like maybe half a dozen songs, but I don't really know the story behind it. Now I do. Really fascinating. It was just the main center of the group, Maurice White. He was one of these just like intellectually advanced individuals. He was, into metaphysics, was into spirituality, chess, philosophy. And he basically, said, he was playing drums in a band, and he just said, I want to make music that helps the world and causes people to feel better about themselves. So there's a lot of positive messaging in their lyrics. Besides the fact that they have had a lot of great catchy songs. So it's about an hour and a half, knocked it out. Also, based on your recommendation earlier today, watched The Crash, the documentary about that girl in Ohio who decided to drive about 99 miles an hour into a building to kill her boyfriend. Oh my God, just horrible people. The heart goes out to the parents of the 2 boys that died. But this girl absolutely belongs in prison. And what I thought was very interesting was her whole defense was, this wasn't an intentional act because I don't remember anything about it, which seemed like failed logic to me. Because if you don't remember what happened, maybe it was intentional and you've blacked it out. Like that seems to be a distinct possibility in my mind. And that's what I've watched. But also, so just congratulations to the New York Knicks. Over 50 years without a championship. They put together a team, was not supposed to go deep into the playoffs. I know there were a lot of people in the New York area who believed in this team. There were people who in the Brooklyn who believed in the Nets this year, and they basically won about 16 games. But everybody, all the pundits, as you would, kept saying that, the Western Conference is going to dominate. It's either going to be the Oklahoma Thunder repeating or San Antonio Spurs. It was a very good Western Conference Finals, but you got to give credit where credit is due. And William Esquire says it's Danhausen removing the curse on the New York Knicks. I don't remember him placing a curse on the New York Knicks.
So I will say this, and tell me if you think I'm wrong here. I think what we saw with the New York Knicks was probably one of the greatest postseason runs in any sport in history.
100%. What did they do? They won what? 14 out of 15?
13 in a row, and then they just lost the game that, surprisingly, the game that Donald Trump attended was the only one they lost after their loss in the first round to Atlanta.
Correct. So they won 13 in a row, lost, and then they won the next two. So that is, they won 15 out of 16 at the highest level of play in the sport. I haven't seen anything like that in my lifetime. But what I thought was so interesting and it kind of speaks to how we do the podcast, is that it's not just whether you're the better person on, you're bringing more to the table. It's how do you finish? Because in each, like, I know, Ron, you come out strong and then you fade. The second half, I really have to carry the heavy weight. I've got to deliver. Otherwise, the people just tune out because they know you're bringing nothing at that point. You're gassed. The tank is empty. Coming from
second half host is what you're saying.
Absolutely. And the thing about the Knicks, at least in this championship, was each game, all 5 games, they were behind double digits very early in the game. They started off very slow. They looked terrible. San Antonio looked unstoppable. And yet in each game, starting in the third quarter, but completely throughout the fourth, it was as if the quality of play just completely swapped. You saw the Spurs getting gassed. You saw they had really nothing in the last portions of the game. Knicks just they just put they put their efforts into another gear. And you just saw them continuously chipping down the lead. There was one game earlier this week where I think they were down by 29 points.
Yeah, and they came back.
And they came back to win the game. It was just wild, though. And I will also add that last night I was scolded for jumping up and down in my living room. As it was when I think the Knicks were down by about 3. And, they were getting close. And I was standing, and I started jumping up and down. She started smacking me.
And kudos to Jalen Brunson, MVP of the finals.
Sure.
First man since Magic Johnson to win a high school championship, an NCAA championship, and an NBA championship.
And let's hope he doesn't get AIDS.
Now, also, not to dwell on that, but what was also pointed out is the fact that when he signed his contract with the Knicks, he actually took about $113 million less over the life of his contract, in the understanding that the team would try and build a championship team around him.
Sure.
And that allowed them to, get Josh Hart and Cat and, some of these other players. Just an outstanding run. Question for you, because I know, you can go both ways on this. Not like when you did in college, but I'm seeing the shots after the game where they're letting Ben Stiller, pose with the championship trophy.
Sure.
They're letting Spike Lee pose with the championship trophy because they're Knicks super fans.
Sure.
Too much?
No, they can do whatever they want. In the NHL, they bring the Stanley Cup to bars and people drink beer out of it. There's no sense that this thing is the crown jewels of Scotland and must be kept in a castle. This is the NBA championship. They can do whatever they want with it for the next year. If they want to sit there and turn around and look at the supporters, the people who were there game in, game out, throughout this last season, giving them support, and we only see what goes on the court during game. We don't know what's going on, in terms of, time spent, before games, after games, maybe in their private lives, whatnot. I know Jalen Brunson has said multiple times that he loves Mariska Hargitay.
Something like that. Mariska
from
Hargitay?
Something like that. He said, I saw something this week that at the beginning of every game, he looks for her on Celebrity Row and will walk over and give her a hug because he's a huge Law and Order fan, and just she's the only one that actually intimidates him because he said he's watched so many hours spent so many hours of his life watching her on his TV. This is a team. Hargitay. And it's just you know what? They can let anybody do whatever it's their trophy to do what with. To me, in all honesty, I would rather see Spike Lee holding the trophy than Dolan. Dolan's a scumbag. Fuck him.
Oh man, that's the only bad thing about this Knicks win is that the Knicks owner, Jim Dolan, is a complete asshole. And what was even funnier, like, he's not a tall man, but he definitely is even shorter looking when he's standing around a bunch of basketball players.
Sure.
Like, he literally looked like, he's holding it up around his head because his head is the waist of the players.
Yeah, when they were interviewing him on the stand, I mean, you were sleeping because you go to bed, early.
Sure.
But when he was being interviewed by the announcer, I forgot the guy's name, Ernie Anastas, I believe. You actually don't see any of the faces of the guys he's standing next to or behind. Right. You just see like maybe this part of their chest, like maybe here is where there's it. He's such a short man. He's that, like you said, it's the only downside to the Knicks winning is that he now is going to get some validation and a lot of money.
Bringing up that there's apparent beef.
Of course.
It's not apparent. There's total beef because didn't he have him like arrested? Had Oakley arrested? He had the Garden one time.
He had Oakley thrown out of the Garden after apparently Oakley was at a game, and this is probably going back about a decade ago, where Oakley was at a game, may have been overserved, was a little aggressive. And he was treated like persona non grata, and they asked him to leave, and he sat there and said, "What are you talking about? I'm
Charles Oakley.
I'm Charles Oakley. Like, I played some of my best basketball in this building.
I'm a Knicks legend.
How dare you treat my and it was, and not only that, but it was a very public altercation to the point where, if I remember correctly, gameplay had to be stopped. The whole stadium staring at him, and security guards are literally grabbing him and rushing out. It was an embarrassing moment. Put a stain on the great legacy of the Knicks.
It did. All right, well, let's see if we can sneak another story in here before we wrap up. You sent me this one. You said it was your feel-good story of the week. Grandfather's pet monkey kills 7-year-old grandson in Thailand. Kind of dark, Brian, but we'll run with it.
Go with it.
In the Nakhon Si Thammarat province, Thailand, 7-year-old Ekarat Shrishan was playing outside his home when the family's pet macaque, man, there's a lot of tough words in this one. A 4-year-old male named Choke attacked the boy without warning, biting him in the chest and puncturing his lungs. Good Lord, that's horrible. Neighbors heard his screams and the monkey screeches and rushed out to find Ekarat covered in wounds. He was rushed to the hospital but didn't survive. After the attack, the grandfather, who had rescued the monkey as an abandoned infant in 2022, released it into the mountains before wildlife authorities could take custody, prompting an urgent search. Officials eventually located it in a tree, but the animal was too aggressive to approach safely. Tranquilizer guns were required. The grandfather's statement may be the most haunting quote of the week. He said, quote, "I thought I had made the right decision in saving the monkey, but now that this has happened, I realize I made a mistake."
Yeah, I mean, monkeys are generally, I mean, I can't speak exclusively, but generally they're bad house pets. Like a dog, a cat. Okay, maybe.
I think one thing social media has done is given people the impression that anything can be a pet.
Sure. I mean, Ron, you tried to keep some hotel room cleaners as pets for the past decade. It's one of the reasons I'm not allowed into your basement anymore.
Anyway, Brian, why? Again, with the hurtful lies.
My goal is to slam you on every article that we talk about, is to try to link it back to some kind of slam on you. My goal would be to basically go an entire episode where I attack you after every story.
Well, not only does he attack me after every story, he attacks me on After Dark.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't know what After Dark is, that must mean you are not a Patreon subscriber. And folks, you need to change that today. Go to cultofronandbrian.com, click in the upper right-hand corner to become a patron. And if you subscribe at the bronze level or higher, you get to join us live. After Dark starts at 9:30, so about 26 minutes now. We have it every week, last Sunday of the month. We have all of our Patreon subscribers on for our pajama party. It's just a fun time, people. You can bring your own beverages, your THC drinks, whatever you want, and join us. But go to cultofronandbrian.com is the net of that conversation.
Sure. And the thing, people, you're sitting there saying, listen, I just watched an hour of free entertainment from Ron and Brian. I've learned so much. I've gained a new perspective on certain things. Why would I want to pay for additional content? And the answer here is that there is stories that are out there that we are going to talk about that are not meant for the general public, that kids, this is a family-friendly show I'd like to talk about. Sure, we make an AIDS joke every now and then, but there are stories out there kids are not going to hear. They're not going to hear about Ron and I talking about the types of OnlyFans that we're supporting. Like that stuff, that's all for After Dark. That's where we talk about the stuff that's going to make you kind of turned on a little bit. That's where we're going to get a little bit more personal. It's worth the $5 a month for the audio. It's worth $10 a month for the live stream link plus the full video. I show my feet during After Dark. I mean, you
can't put a price on that. You
I'm not
put a price on that.
I'll show it. Like right now, look, this has got. I'm wearing socks. You know what I mean? Socks.
That's a tease
during
right
After
there.
Dark.
That's a
After
tease
Dark,
right
those socks come off, and then it's wild. We get wild, people. That's After Dark. Go to our website, click the link. And most importantly, people, just love each other. I may give Ron a hard time, but he knows with all my heart I love him and hope to retire wherever he and his wife decide to go. My wife and I will follow.
All right. Well, thank you, as always, Brian, for co-hosting the Cult of Ron and Brian with me. This has been episode 409. Thank you all for joining us. We will catch you again next Sunday night.
Takes rising, orders given. Once you're in, you're not.